File sharing is a crime, and I'm not going to be anally raped so you can listen to Usher.
It's about the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. Yeah, it's about the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. You can't make a change unless you got the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. You can't make a change unless you got some love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. We started from the bottom, talking about the roots. Every time I'm in the booth, I gotta shoot the truth. My art is my art.
All right, welcome back, friends. It's MJ, Tiara, Lynxi, and Dean here to discuss episode 5 of the Boondocks, A Visit from the Health Inspector, where we get some background information on our friendly neighborhood prosecutor, Tom. His, I don't want to say irrational, but bizarre fear of being anally raped in prison. And in this episode, that fact comes to light as he is arrested for a crime he did not commit, and the boys go on an adventure to figure out who the real culprit is.
Of course, because he didn't want the kids to tell Grandpa, because God forbid there was an adult trying to help.
Yes, because, the smartest ones, the smartest ones are, of course, Huey and Riley. I mean, let's just be honest. The most resourceful as well. So we're gonna go with I probably would call them too. Let's be real. Yeah. And maybe ask Grandpa to, have a little bail money. But other than that, you guys figure it out. It's just, it's like the, what were the, Scooby-Dooby-Doo kids?
Scooby
What were they
Gang?
called? Yeah, there you go. It's like I would call them. They would figure shit out. Go ahead.
Before we get too deep into this episode, we should talk a little bit about. Let's see. We found out this week that HBO Max does not have the episodes of the Boondocks in the same order that they originally appeared. So. Our next episode doesn't do anything about right now, but our next episode is actually a different one than what HBO Max has it listed as. So we're gonna make a big point of that next week when we talk about Gangstalicious instead of what was the other one? The Deal, yeah.
And Adult Swim as well. They changed everything. We noticed that recently when we went to watch, and we were like, "Oh, cool! So I guess we're just gonna stick to YouTube."
Kind of weird.
Yeah, I was gonna say, y'all fancy.
Honey, I'm a teacher, and I know other teachers, and we have everything thanks to that.
Yes,
it didn't start out that way, but last year I added somebody with a Disney Plus login, and so now I have almost everything. I need to find someone with Shudder, but teachers apparently don't watch horror movies, but whatever.
You're like lames.
Absolutely. One thing Dean absolutely wants me to say, he's definitely more into the dynamics outside of the actual show, like how many people are listening, which for me, I'm like, cool, there's people listening. But he's really excited because we've gone over 230 downloads for our first 5 episodes. So
that's awesome.
Hey. That's dope. Fire flames.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't ever do that. That called that.
I suck at it too.
I'm horrible at it. But you guys know. Yeah, there we go. That's close to it. So you guys know what the hell we're talking about.
Oh God. Yeah. So shit. Last time we met. Let's see. The president was sick. And now he's immune. Just so you know.
Well, not enough for his son not to be. Now,
right?
Barron,
poor kid.
who I have to say, every time I look at him, I was like, wow, you have grown.
He's
huge.
7 feet tall.
Yeah.
I gotta start looking up
Melania
the
is like 7
handles for
feet
these
tall.
people.
So.
Somebody tweeted Barron's about to have a whole basketball career to make up for Trump's tax debt.
I mean, Damn it.
That's funny.
Like, I honestly try my best to, like, keep out of the kid thing when it comes to politics. Like, kids are off limits. But Jesus Christ, that poor kid, I hope to God they have a good therapist for him. Because, I mean, look at all the other siblings, all the other Trump siblings. And that poor kid is just like, he's got no chance. Unless, you know, both mom and dad go to prison and he goes to live with, you know, Aunt Mary, who's the sane one, apparently.
Yeah, and who's somewhat normal. Yeah, you see it, though. You see it in his face and behind his eyes, like, I'm here.
Right.
Why?
I think,
like
I honestly wonder if he's autistic. Yeah. And because what I see when I look at him is somebody who's just like, I'm here, my body is here, but my mind is absolutely somewhere else. And I've got my own little world and nobody fucks with me. And, you know, the few pictures that I've seen by him, supposedly done by him, because there was a whole thing, I think, on Twitter not that long ago about art by Barron that was snuck out, I guess.
His photography.
No, his drawings. Apparently he likes drawing anime characters. And he is currently really interested in certain attributes of certain anime characters. So she says, you know, pretending to hold her enormous...
So, wait, what is it though? Lung surgery or whatever that Melania had to go have? I don't remember what they kept calling it. Like, she has to have lung surgery or she has to have back surgery or something. So everyone kept saying like, nice back, Melania.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't remember
she got the boobs.
What it was. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, Melania was definitely a little older when she had him. You know, and we unfortunately, we know what the numbers are, what the statistics are, you know, when the birth happens later in life. And then, unfortunately, for you to have, you know, the sperm of the, you know, Trump being responsible for you, that doesn't seem like that's, you know, a good shot. Like you said, look at the other kids. I mean, SNL does it the best when they, you know, when they make fun, or not make fun, but when they, you know, have the kids, especially the older ones in skits, it's just like, right, you hit the nail right on the head. Like they played them so well. And they're very much like a Stepford type of family. Oh, yeah. You know?
Like there was that video that was going around of Trump like chastising them or something, but it was supposedly a present he was giving them. Like it was fucked. And these are fucking adults that he's talking to like that. And they're like, thank you, Father. Yes, Father. I understand, Father. Like it was gross. It was so fucking gross.
They obviously don't use, you know, Google and find out your father is not as rich as you think. So whatever you're doing for whatever, you know, a little bit of an inheritance you think you're getting, stop it. Go find something that you can do with your life. But we know that's not going to happen. No. I think that's a little bit of karma. So
born to grift.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think that was the biggest news last time we met up, you know, was that he was, you know, in the hospital.
Yeah, he was still in. He had been in for a couple of days when we recorded last time. And then he was magically cured and now it's not a big deal. And, you know, he feels 20 years younger or some shit. And he's holding, you know, massive events every day now.
But he looks like he can't breathe.
Right.
He looks like his breathing is still very labored.
Oh, I have a good one. I wish I'd actually saved the statistic on my phone, but I was looking at the early voting and the numbers. And in most of the states that have early voting, they're having record numbers of voting happening. And in places like Texas, people are standing in line for 12, 15 hours, but they're doing it. And they're forcing those places to stay open. And like, I have had a really hard time being hopeful about everything that's happening right now. But my friends I have friends in Houston who, God love them, I don't know why they're still in Texas, but I have friends in Houston who were freaking out because of, you know, the governor trying to say that every county could only have one ballot box. And then that was again overruled by one of, you know, Trump's appointees today, actually. But anyway, those places where they were talking about how many people were standing in line and how long the lines were. And so
that's super promising. That's awesome.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Unfortunately, here they are finding the illegal illegal
GOP,
boxes.
California GOP. Come on now.
Yeah, and they found, some loophole,
Mhm.
which they say that allows them to have the boxes because, they were collecting them and turning them in. You can't do that. When somebody turns it in, they have to sign, and they have to be somebody in your household or, whatever. It can't just be, oh, we're collecting, we're going to turn them in. Like, what kind of bullshit do you guys think you're pulling? And they refuse to remove them.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to find out what's going to happen there,
disgusting.
because all of those, they're probably not going to be counted. Like if everything happens the way that it should, because we don't know how tainted they are. But look what they're pulling already.
It's so funny that this political party that has been swearing up and down that they want to end voter fraud and that voter fraud is this terrible problem that they are trying to fix. And yet every single instance of voter fraud that is happening is being done by Republicans right now. Every single one.
Every last one. All the ones that they were mysteriously finding, all the ballots that they were finding in the
river.
rivers. Like,
and right, that was like
what?
8, and it was an accident, and it wasn't in the river. It was just like they were disposed of by accident, and it was like totally taken care of and admitted to, and there was no fucking conspiracy.
No. Like, it is what it is. And that's what's like so alarming, is that they're so blatant with it. And it's like, and what? That's what their attitude is.
At
Like,
this point,
we did it. What now?
Because they've gotten away with it for how many hundreds of years?
Hundreds of years, right?
It's just like a child. We talked about this on my other podcast. Like, you gotta call them out the first time, or they're gonna just keep doing fuck shit until you finally bring down the hammer. And who's gonna bring down the hammer?
What I feel like really sucks,
right?
Is like,
I'll wait. Tell me.
We're all like the three of us. We're in very close, the same like generation band. Like we're all within a couple of years of each other, and so like I remember the first time I was able to vote for president. It was such a letdown because I was 21 and it was fucking Gore that I had to vote for. But lesser of two evils, I voted for Gore, and what happened? We got Bush. And from then, like, I voted for Obama because he was, again, lesser of evils, but with him, it was a little more hopeful, lesser of two evils. Yeah. And, I actually think, as I think I said on this podcast, I actually think that he did a good centrist job, which essentially is what you would want a president to be like. But, actual centrism versus what is being touted as centrism. Like, actual centrism is people can find jobs and have housing and food. That should be, like, the base civil right. But for some reason, that's, like, massive leftist when you say stuff like that now. So,
yeah. It's like, how dare you not want people to live on the freeway?
Right? Yeah. Oh, God. Or my neighborhood Facebook group where one of the fucking people posted pictures of an encampment basically shaming them. And it's like, we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic. Everybody's having a really hard fucking time. Why do you need to do that? Why do you need to degrade somebody who already could be at one of the lowest points in their lives? Why would you do that? Like, this fucking world, this country at least, is lacking empathy as a whole.
The world as well.
That's huge.
It sucks.
Yeah. It's, I don't know when when we exchange that for whatever we exchange it for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for whatever the behavior that we have now, like, when did that become an even trade? And the decision was made, like, worldwide. Yeah. Or just human being, are just, why? I don't get it. That's something that I notice just every single day. Holding the door open for somebody, especially now, like, nobody's telling you to lick somebody in the face and all in the mouth, but holding the door open for somebody, it says a lot. It can help your day move along a lot better. It provides a lot of positive energy. And people don't do it because they're so self-absorbed. It drives me crazy. I think that's why accidents happen. Automobile accidents. It's people really being too self-absorbed to pay attention to just what's going on the road, which is something you're supposed to do when you're behind a vehicle. When you're behind a big machine, that's thousands of pounds. But yeah, that's too hard. It's too much like right. So people don't do it. I
feel like they're like interconnected, these things, like being self-absorbed and also kind of like politics and society. It's like society got so depressing at a point, right? Like the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, the world is so cold and hard. And it's hard to find people to trust and to believe in. Nobody has your back and shit. So when people feel like I can't put my faith in anyone else, nobody else is there for me, I'm just going to focus on me only. It's all about me and my grind and my kids. And it's like a loop. It's horrible. It's negative. Like I think I've said it on this podcast. To me, the whole point of the pandemic was you are your brother's keeper. Hello, everybody, the whole world. This was the lesson. If one goes down, we all may go down. But people don't get it. They did not get it.
No. I mean, I think the things that people took away from it the most, I was talking to somebody who I'm going to collaborate with. And we were just talking about the thing that's going to make us stronger, continue to make us stronger, is the fact that we want to see other people get ahead. We want to, see that growth within society. We want people to be able to take this time. Like I've said before too, I think the universe was saying, you guys shut up, sit down, you don't have this. I'm going to go ahead and take control now.
Yep.
And the things that it was providing us, like that quiet time to be with your family, or that time for you to make that bread and then start selling that bread because that's something you've been passionate about. And some of us utilize that time and utilize this time for the best and, for hopefully the advantage of ourselves, but the advantage of those around us, and trickle down effect. But then some of us are just still kind of like hands out, complaining, waiting for something else for them to complain about. I was telling hubby today, I'm not ready for shit to open back up.
Well, it's not going to. Every state in our country right now has rising cases. We are going into what should have been all along a heavier fucking lockdown than we had in the first place. Like half the states in this country are showing record numbers, like numbers higher than in the summer.
Which is surprising because here in Sacramento, we just opened up. Schools were given the A-OK to reopen.
Places that are opening up are where it's all happening.
Oh, I know.
Opening up is happening too early.
I'm definitely aware of that. Oh, I'm definitely, because I believe my children are not going back.
Right.
We filled out the survey and I said, no, mine are not coming back. Not hybrid, not low brid, not whatever else you want to call it. They are not coming back. So at least until well after, the winter, we're entering the time when everybody gets sick. Bronchitis and the flu and just the common cold. Let's throw Corona on it, but let's just open back up, guys.
Right?
Let's go. Let's start talking about Christmas and everything else. I'm not worried about a Christmas, a Thanksgiving.
Let's talk about how fast a head cold goes through an elementary school. Because actually, let's talk about how fast a stomach flu goes through an elementary school because that's faster. All of the years that I have worked with children, I've been very lucky because I'm kind of OCD about washing my hands and using hand sanitizer long before Corona. But even when I was a nanny and the kids that I nannied for was just the two kids, when their elementary school got hit, I got hit because they ended up throwing up on me. That shit happens so fast.
And stomach viruses, they're airborne. It's just kind of like Corona. Yep. So with the common cold, it is airborne, as well. But it's more the touchy. It's more the snot. It's more of like that.
The running noses.
Yeah. And so that spreads just as fast. I didn't even think about the stomach bug. Because there's always a stomach bug that goes along with just that flu. That's just the common cold base. So
I'm thinking of elementary school and what happens. Right now, if this was a normal school year, we would be head deep into flu season already. And then stomach flu season is right around the bend because it always seems to happen as you get later in the year. And then again in the spring.
Think about it. It's Halloween. Halloween, the kids are touching, they're exchanging candy, they're doing all that. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, there's this huge, influx of a cold. And so
playing with their candy and then putting it back in the bucket because they can't have any until later and then not washing their hands and then picking it back up again with the gross that's still on there. And okay.
And gobbling it down, then sucking their fingers.
Dean is laughing
all that good
stuff. I'm totally squeeged out by all that kind of shit. I
was going to say, you're squeeged out. Oh my God.
So when I am in a situation where I'm faced with body fluids and all of that, I've worked in healthcare and in childcare for my entire more than my entire life, since I was 15. So there is nothing that I haven't seen, nothing that hasn't gotten on me. I've been pooped on, I've been beat on, I've been puked on a million times, I've been bled on. Like, the only thing that really grosses me out is phlegm. Like, I can mostly handle it, but fuck, I fucking hate it.
It's pretty gross. It's pretty gross, yeah. And all the variety of ways that it can come. So I get you there. Like, it's pretty gross. So
textures.
Duly noted. Nobody's going to hit on you for that one. Yeah.
Next on my autistic life.
I know.
Like, you said textures, and I immediately was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is, though. But it is. That's you've had babies or been around babies or anything, like,
Yeah.
And it's something, that's innate in us, something within, being a woman, because I can remember just like going, what is this brown stuff on the wall? And without a hesitation, like scratching it, smelling it, not really tasting it, but sometimes maybe going, could be,
chocolate.
Yeah. And you just, and it's something you do.
Yep.
And you just keep it moving,
I was a master at picking the kid up and smelling him before the kid even knew I had picked him up.
Oh God, and another great thing about being a woman there. That's what this episode about. Everybody's like, what is this? What episode is this? I don't remember this
A
at
visit
all.
from the health inspector.
I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So
it's along the lines. We're getting there, guys.
Well,
We're getting there.
actually,
This is
we talked.
related.
Yeah, we talked around it a little bit earlier, and then we veered off again.
Yeah.
But one of the things that let's see, what should we start with? Should we start with the racial side of things or the political side of things on this? Because those are the two big things in this episode.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and I know that the clips that you guys have are pretty important, pretty imperative to kind of both sides of that. Mm-hmm. So maybe kind of starting when we can lead into one of the clips, very, very soon after we kind of talk about it. So I know that the ones that you chose, those were, and the cop ones, very telling.
So that is actually, that's a perfect thing. So this is the clip. This is a clip after, my brain. After Tom gets arrested and basically accused of murdering somebody.
Why are you doing this to me?
You know what this is, man? It's fucking racism, man. You were at the wrong place at the wrong time, and you just happen to fit the description. Now, if you admit you killed him...
I didn't kill anyone!
Look, even if you didn't kill him, just admit that you killed him. I promise you won't go to jail. Smack on the wrist. I promise you.
Wait! Stop! You can't be serious. I'm a prosecutor. I'm never gonna fall for this.
It's
okay. Wow. Still going. The spoiler alert, he did start to fall for it just 10 minutes later. So besides the fact that it's just kind of ridiculous, the good cop, bad cop mentality that literally does do this to suspects, especially suspects that are more vulnerable. It's the black cop playing the good cop and telling him, if you just confess, this will all be over. You'll be able to go home. Everything's fine. And I think that it's really important that it was the black cop being that, because just because you're black, it does not excuse you when you are propping up racist institutions. So, when I say things like all cops are bastards, and people are like, well, would you say that about the black cop? Yes, I would, because they are choosing to work in an industry that is that has systemic racism and not do anything about it. And, there are facts proven facts that cops who do the right thing, quote unquote, are chased out of their jobs. They're not the ones that succeed and become lieutenants and captains and whatever. So
that just happens.
Yeah.
It just happened to a police officer. Yeah. He was talking about, how it's not okay for you to just stand back and watch your fellow officers do the things that were done to like George Floyd. And he was talking on TikTok. He had, he kind of received his fame through TikTok. And so he did 2 or 3 posts about it. And next thing he knows, he's being called to the office. And he's telling everybody, he does a post and he says, well, I'm coming in on my day off because I'm being called in. Next post, he says how he was let go. And, it was because he spoke disparagingly against against the industry as a whole, not even directly his department. But, he 16 years, I think I recall he said, or if not more, that he had been in the role and, had commendations and, was well respected. And by all intents and purposes, he was doing what he was supposed to do and was, a good cop. And as soon as he decided to speak up, they showed him just how much of a good cop they thought he was. So that was very recent. That happened within the last 2 to 3 months.
Damn, I missed that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have to find his name and share that. But yeah, that prime example, how do you reconcile with, and I think it should be very simple, with watching your counterparts do wrong and murder people, and you just sit back and say nothing because you want that pension, or you stand up and you say something. I just feel like I would leave a much better life if I stood up and said something instead of just kind of sitting back and cowering.
I don't feel like
anybody.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you can go. I'm going to rant. I'm going to rant.
True. Okay, mine's pretty quick. Shit, I was just basically going to say, nobody joins the police force thinking that they're going to be like you know what the fucking police do. You know what happens. You know what it turns you into. You see it every day. And yes, there are good cops who do good things, but they are quiet when the bad cops do bad things, and that makes them bad cops. So you joining that organization, you are choosing to join a bad organization. That is not one that is going to be reformed from the inside. Seattle has shown that. We've been in reform measures for a decade now, and we're still getting the fucking protesters are shit. Actually, something I saw today made me laugh so hard, and I just have to share it. A person who probably was not in full control of their faculties today took a flaming piece of wood and shoved it into a cop car in Seattle and caught the car on fire. And it just made me laugh so hard. Like, the cop had to go to the hospital with minor injuries. And I was like, oh, okay, this is not a story. Why?
Yeah, like that. Thanks for sharing.
But that's really what's happening in Seattle now. People are just getting ornery.
And getting to that point, hubby decided, he looked up really quickly the name of that officer. Jaquay D. Williams. Jaquay. D, obviously, and then Williams. And he was identified as Officer Williams on TikTok. So he's from North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, so he found that. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. Appreciate your help. So so that's for, anybody that's, any of our listeners. And then, for you ladies to kind of look up if you're not familiar with it. But so that's just unfortunate, perfect example of somebody trying to do the right thing and what happens. But, he was upset, and I think he was more upset because he felt disrespected. But I think for him, it was like, it is what it is. Like, I'm sure that he's probably having a nice little,
I'm sure he knew it was going to happen. Like, at this point, he probably was like, I'm doing this and going to try and get away with it as long as I can. And here we go, getting fired.
I mean, North Carolina, he should have known, and he shouldn't be surprised. But I'm sure a little, unlawful, discharge suit.
I hope so.
A little something can help him out because he deserves it. But so just didn't want to throw that out there while he looked for it and while I remembered.
Fantastic.
But yes, Lynxi, I know I'm ready, girl, because I know you have some knowledge to drop.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm in a space cadet mode, though, anyway. But there's just so many things. And it all comes back full circle. Like how we started at the beginning talking about, like, the self-centeredness, the politics, and people and their shit. and the police force. Like, I think people do, honestly. Now, in 2020, I hope nobody's joining the police force thinking they're going to change it from the inside. I do think
that's where I was going from.
When I was younger, I had friends who are still friends who wanted to be police officers, and they knew we're a little more woke than most and really thought they were about to join this shit and change it from the inside. All of them dropped it, especially one of my best girlfriends who's on the podcast with me. She hardcore tried out for the police force. I want to say 5 times, couldn't get the physical. And then like one of the sergeants approached her and they were basically like, training her to get into it. They were basically going to get this girl in. And then she said, though, being in those training sessions, she was like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing this. But here's the thing. Like, so this is the macro part of the rant about people and behaviors, y'all. And I almost tweeted this today because I spent the afternoon arguing with my best friend because what you all need to stop doing, I don't care if it's friendship, I don't care if it's your job, please normalize how they keep doing this. Please normalize standing up for what's right and telling the fucking truth over blind allegiance.
Yes.
Why are you dealing with Donald Trump right now? Because your ass couldn't do this at any level. I know there's consequences for doing this, but hello, if you give a fuck about humanity, or like even when you said, MJ, I'd have a better quality of life, I feel if I were a police officer and I spoke the truth, that's because you have fucking morals and you're a good fucking person. And a lot of people, it's not that you're a bad person, but it's that they're too scared and worried about what happens if I really tell it like it is. Like, I'm going to be thrown out. I'm going to be ostracized. I'm not going to be able to find another job, man. Fuck that shit. I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't curse so much on this podcast.
No, there's tons of people that start
Curse
over.
all you want.
Yeah. Yes.
Fuck that noise. Like,
the point
we
across.
can be NC-17.
Yes.
It's all good.
You will find
better be. No.
You will find maybe people who are interested in your story. At least this is my belief. What do I know? I mean, this could be, I am very naive about a lot of things, or maybe not naive is the word, but just very like, hey, it's all going to work out right in the end. Silver lining. Man, but I would rather be a homeless bum bitch ranting on the corner than be some police officer racist pieces of shits little bitch. Now that's me. I sleep well at night. I don't give a fuck. I told y'all how I love my job. I'm not going to do it. I just don't understand how you can be internally sound inside if you're out here playing to somebody else's tune, suppressing other people, hurting other people. Like, start standing up and telling the fucking truth.
And live your truth. Like, live it loudly. Yep. Because that's what so many people aren't doing.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that, it's like you can see it from 1,000 miles away. That you're just full of shit, to say it the simplest way possible. So I love everything that you said. Truth and fire and what you just said. All the way around.
My thing with it, too, though, is if you feed them, I'll be quick with it. You feed the monster's going to eat you eventually. So all you people selling out, all of you, like this officer, I mean, I'm sure I'm so happy and it was honorable of him to speak out. But again, he was a part of this thing for a long time. I don't know his path, his journey. Not my right to totally judge it. But you finally came out and said, hey, this is going on. This is what's messed up. This happens, that happens. And they cut you. Yeah. I mean, that's what the monster is going to do. And I would imagine he did kind of have to know. I'm like, you know what I mean? When you're in it that long, yes, it's jarring when they turn on you. But that's what they're all going to do. You get me? I'm talking to all of you. Anyone who's kind of in these bullshit jobs, these bullshit organizations, kissing someone's ass, singling a victim out, the people in the army, look at all the sexual abuse they were talking about at Fort Hood and stuff.
Oh, Jesus.
Y'all.
And they're finding bodies.
Are they finding more than just,
yeah, there
wow.
were like at least 3 or 4 the last time I looked. I haven't followed it that much because I've been trying to detox a little from the news.
Yeah,
I was getting
you need to
a
sometimes.
little too angry.
That's crazy. And this is our service.
Yeah.
These are the, what I'm saying? And the good old boy kind of aspect of and way of thinking trickles down everywhere. And it's present everywhere. And the fact that you're supposed to have respect for another soldier, just as you are, whether it's a man or woman, and the fact that that is not there, that's
well, and it
that's
seems
scary.
to be like
and
Hispanic soldiers are the ones who are disappearing. Like, I feel like this is more than just, I feel like this is Trump-based, honestly. Like, I feel like all of his rhetoric is just amplified when you're in the armed services, and I hate to think about it.
It's amplified for anybody, it seems like, anywhere. It's just allowing people to, live that nastiest, part of themselves and their thoughts, and allows them to feel like it's okay for them to live it out loud, because we have a president who does that, and who's on Twitter 9,000 times a day saying the most idiotic and, toxic things that somebody could say, especially the leader of the free world. So it's very jarring, but it's telling. And I want people to, to really step up. Those people that, like us, that support him. I said on my, my pod last week, I said, those of you that, that feel like, no, he's done great and this is great and blah, 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 blah. Those of you that choose to live in delusion, is what I basically said. Let's have a conversation, because I want to find out what we can do for you. Are we going to, get you a headspace, subscription so you can talk to somebody weekly? Are we going to give you to the church so they can pray over you? What is it that we're going to do so that you can get out of this crazy delusion that makes you think that this guy has done something great and that he should be put in the books, as far as one of the great presidents? I can't fathom. That's my rant. Okay, I'm done.
No, you're perfect.
It's the migraine. The migraine just is pushing there. It's like, here, say this.
I get that. No. Totally.
Yes.
But speaking of politics, I guess, that actually is kind of the other theme of this episode, but it's kind of on the down low. So okay. And Dean, please correct me if I mess this up, because he's good at like the linear stuff. I'm good at the color commentary. So, I think in our first episode we talked about, or was it the first episode that Ed Wensler showed up in the garden party? Yeah. So we talked about how Ed Wensler III is basically George W. Bush, and how he's being essentially propped up to be the future president. And, there were Secret Service people around, and so there's all of that. We know that there are politics running through this somehow. So in this episode, you had the Xbox killer, which was the main quest that they were supposed to go on. But then they went on a side quest because they needed to get a tasty beverage. Little Pulp Fiction Easter egg there. God, my brain's so tired right now. Oh my gosh, I'd even pick up on that. I'm so mad at myself. But there's so many little there. Oh, Samuel L. Jackson playing what's his name? Gin Rummy. Samuel L. Jackson playing Gin Rummy is like one Pulp Fiction quote after another in this. Actually, let's go ahead and do my next clip, because that's.
But I always say the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Simply because you don't have evidence that something does exist does not mean that you have evidence that something doesn't exist.
What?
What country you from?
What?
What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English in what?
What?
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
Yeah.
So you understand the words I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is that there are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. Things we don't know that we don't know.
What?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more time.
So that was an obvious Pulp Fiction at the end there. But kind of the point of that clip and what he was saying was what they were saying in the lead up to the second Iraq war, where they were saying, Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. And, the people who were sent in to find it were like, we can't find any evidence of that. And Bush and Rumsfeld, who were like, oh, well, just because we can't find it doesn't mean they're not there. Like, I tried to find the actual wording they used, but I remember that. And so Gin Rummy, being Rumsfeld, he's obsessed with, the machismo of war, about, you know, shooting people and just the violence of it. Whereas, you know, like we said before, Onceler III is more like, you know, the good old boy who just wants to do drugs and get drunk and, you know, fuck women. And but because Ed Onceler III is the one who has the clout, he's the one who's leading everything, and he goes to his friend Rummy, aka Rumsfeld, and then they basically start this big war at the convenience store against someone who didn't have any weapons.
Yeah. Yes.
And then at the end, they're the heroes because, you know, they're the white men in this situation. They're the Americans.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was no way that they were at fault by anything, even though there was a police officer who had all his faculties about him, that could see and hear.
Hey,
but
that's Lynxi. Why don't let's play yours? Like, I knew this was going to go together.
It. Yeah.
Officer, this motherfucker got a gun pointed at you. You want to die?
What?
Do you want to die?
I don't want to die!
He does not have a gun!
He does have a gun, officer. Trust me. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
I don't see a gun!
Man, fuck this shit. Whose side you on? Mine or this motherfucker who's obviously of terrorist descent?
Wait! I think I can see the gun now!
So, like, the police are like soldiers. We don't see anything. We don't. Oh, maybe we do. Maybe we see them.
Wait, over here.
Oh, yeah, I
that's
see
where
it.
they're telling us to go. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I see it. That's freaking crazy. Yeah, that's with the when you have all that and that knowledge that's, you know, all the references, it makes it a very powerful episode. And, you know, without that, it's kind of like, well, what you're looking for, you know, what the meaning is and the symbolism of it. But yeah, understanding those two characters, and that's pretty crazy because the guy's like, I have my hands are up. Both of my hands are up.
Look,
I don't have
no
anything. Yeah. That is great. Yeah. So especially when you live through that, because it was very clear that living through that whole thing very much seemed like a soap opera.
God, right?
You know, and it was so many different players, and they would bring in a new character, and you didn't know if you could trust that one, but that one had knowledge, and that one was, you know, had this information about the insurgents. You know, and they got us on that one when they named them the insurgents.
Americans love a named enemy.
Oh yeah, that's when it was serious, and then you throw the colors with it.
Right.
You know,
that actually was another thing in this episode. They had the terror alert. And how it was orangey red or reddish orange or something like that, which meant it was really strong, but not quite red.
Yeah, and that's what Jasmine was worried about. Right. She's like, there's, you know, this terrorist and we're at level orange or whatnot. And they definitely did create, you know, fear. Like, we didn't go anywhere. It was like, was it okay to travel? Was road travel okay? Was air travel okay?
I didn't fly for a long time after that.
No, us either. And that was in the time that we were, you know, college. We were going here and there. And, you know, we had spring breaks to plan and we were going to Vegas. And it was like, well, I guess we're not going anywhere.
You know, what's funny, Dean actually wrote something that from the episode that I had totally missed. When they're shooting up the convenience store, the owner is like, your father helped me build this.
Yeah.
Because they were our friends once and we helped them, you know, blah, 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 blah. So, like, that, again, like, there's so many little things in this. Like, the first couple times I watched this episode, I kind of, like, in the back of my mind knew it, but I think it was, like, take 3 or 4. And I'm like, wait a second, tell me your theory again. And it just clicked. I'm like, oh my God, I can see it now.
No, it's... no, go ahead, Lynxi.
I was just going to say, I put none of that together. None. I was just taking away that same thing we were just talking about blind allegiance and how politics, identity politics work in this country. Like, you know, oh, I think I see the gun. When you're, like you said, your faculties work, you are just saying, I don't see a gun. There's nothing wrong. And then whose side are you on? Okay, I see the gun. And that is so relevant.
It's both militarily relevant and racially in the cop sees the gun in who is supposed to be the suspect. It's not the 2 white men holding the guns. It's the terrorist who might have a gun we can't see. And so And that's a recurring theme in Black America. He's got a gun. No, it's a fucking cell phone. It's a pen. It's a ruler. It's a book. It's a whatever. A toy
It's his
car.
diploma. Like, it could be anything. Yeah. It's his job acceptance. Like, it's anything that, and they're able to use that.
Yeah. And they get fucking away with it. All they have to say is they think they saw a gun, and then it's fucking justifiable, no matter how old the kid is. Kid or adult. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
and it keeps happening. And, the most recent thing, I think, of course, and I don't know, we don't believe we talked about it, but it's, Breonna Taylor. They paid out money. And so it was like, as soon as they paid that money, everybody should have kind of known.
Mm-hmm. I did.
What I'm saying? Like
I remember saying it. I'm like, oh, they ain't going to find him guilty. They're not even going to indict him.
It's an exchange. You get the money. Well, then that puts a value. Unfortunately, you're saying that her life was only worth that amount when no, you are paying because you guys screwed the hell up. Mm-hmm. And, and anybody else, that is like, non-melanated would have been paid quick, fast, in a hurry. And those cops would have been, would have been found guilty or would have had some type of repercussion. Mm-hmm. Some type. Yeah. But yet it's one or the other when it comes to the lives of Black people. It's infuriating. And that's kind of, highlighted a little bit and touched upon in this episode as well. I think the obviously, what's it, the lawyer, Tom didn't look anything like, what the Xbox killer actually ended up looking like.
I like that they did that too. I like that they had the actual suspect be like so completely polar opposite of who they thought, because it just highlights they were picking whatever Black man they could find to pin it on.
Yep.
And they didn't even do any work. Like the fucking kids figured out in just a few minutes who actually did it.
Yeah.
And the cops couldn't figure it out.
Had the picture drawn and everything. Yeah, because Riley's picture was right on point. Like it was right on point. But yeah, that I liked how they kind of had like an A story and a B story in a way in this episode, even though, it was definitely more focused on getting Tom out or the whole deal about going to the store and just, the undertones, what we're learning here even more in depth. But yeah, it was this was an episode where I can say that everything was wrapped up and it was wrapped up in a way that it needed to be. Like there didn't need to be a whole lot of backstory on Tom's, deal other than he was worried about being anally raped, so it kind of made it kind of funny. It kind of made a little joke.
I feel like Dean absolutely needs me to mention the fact that in Tom's nightmare in the beginning, I literally freaked out at the size of the cock that was...
Oh, that's...
I was like, holy
good
fuck,
Lord.
That's not going to happen. Like, what the fuck?
Ridiculous.
I was like, stop making it steamy. I wanted to see how far. Like I saw, it was about knee.
It was past his knee.
There. Yeah. That was great. That was very intimidating, I'm sure, for Tom, poor Tom.
Right?
But me and my way, I was like, I was a little intrigued. I was like, what's going on there? I like how you said, I'm all clean. You see how I'm all clean? It was so funny.
It wasn't even hard yet.
Right?
Yes. Facts. That part hurts.
Like that. Okay. So, I have watched quite a lot of porn in my life. Anytime a porn star has a dick that big, they can never get it hard because it requires so much blood for it to happen. They can't get fully hard. That fucking sucks.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I guess they do seem a little like there's a little, bend to it sometimes. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm like, I have as well. So I'm trying to think back.
That's like when you used to watch.
To do a little research.
Cartoons
right? You need,
with genies.
7-8 hands.
Right. Yeah. No, you're gonna make me look tonight. Next week I'm gonna be like, so I found one.
Do it. Yeah.
I found one.
I love
it. So that's a different episode. No,
that's the size queens of Woodcrest.
Right.
Who is this prisoner?
It's not.
We
how
need
you
to
use
find
it.
him. Oh fuck!
I don't think you're quite clean enough, sir. Let's see what's going on.
And then next week we've got 500 downloads this week.
We have sponsors all of a sudden. It's crazy. Like, we don't know.
Lovers. What's this? Adam and Eve. Like, what other sex?
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
You took words out of my mouth. Adam and Eve
isn't a thing anymore, right?
Yeah.
Oh, She-Bop in Portland. Yeah, She-Bop. Okay.
I've heard of that one. Yeah. I could look up. Yeah, like that's a different one. As we'll get, we're completely it's just off topic, just way over here because of the extra large penis that was was in the shower with Tom. So it's all relevant, guys. We're bringing it all back, all back,
full circle.
That's funny. I don't think you weren't here for that part. No. He shake his head like, no, I was not. I was not. Huh?
I've seen the episode.
Just want to know if you remembered. So you can feel like you're into the conversation right now. And once you feel left out.
Every once in a while, Dean unmutes.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
All right. Is there anything else in this episode you guys would like to talk about?
No, I think we covered everything pretty well. I mean, I think it was... for Tom to be introduced the way that he was, I mean, he's already been introduced, but this was like his first, real story, story arc. So the way that he was introduced, it kind of said a lot about him. It kind of lets you know a little bit of, how anal he is. And, what his fear is, and then actually what his personality's like, a little bit. So it was a good introduction. And then, I mean, if you guys did not catch all of the references, like, please go back now that you do know,
and there's probably
and
more.
Watch the episode again.
Yeah. This is literally like, if we had recorded this on our normal day, I probably would not have solidified it as much as I did, because it literally was today, like an hour before we started. Like, I took a shower, I got out, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it a couple more times, and then I'm like, hey, wait, what was your thing again? I see it now. I get it.
Say it again. Tell me one more time, because I got it. It's right there. It's right there.
I mean, I do write up those notes for a reason.
I don't read your fucking notes. What are you talking about?
Oh, we're supposed to read those?
I just try to help, That's what I'm here for.
Well, speaking what you're here for.
Producer, thank you.
Speaking what you're here for, what's our white people question of the night?
And by the way, I was in the first Iraq. I was in Desert Storm, so I was so I've got history with all of that. So
when they said we'd been there before,
right. So this is that. So that was all very, very familiar to me. So
he noticed it immediately because that was a big part of his life.
Because Gin Rummy and Rumsfeld, they called Rumsfeld Rummy. So and so it was all very on point. But
well, thank you for your your time over there and your service, and because that was a crazy time.
It was nothing. I was looking for college money. That's
so unsure.
Still.
I mean, that's how like 90%. That's actually that's kind of a really important point. My camera just went out. So one of the things that is gaining steam right now, and even like Biden is starting to talk about it, like he's talking about canceling student debt. And I'm curious what that's going to do for the military, because wanting to go to college is one of the biggest reasons why we have such a huge fucking military, because so many people are too poor to access education on their own.
Yeah,
if they make education free, our army is going to shrink. Period. There is that. Oh yeah, that's going to happen.
Well,
I know people that are in the service and they're like, I can't wait until they're done. Like, they're just trying to get to that age of now of being able to retire, and they're like, I can't. Wait.
And I know because what they'll probably end up doing, and this is what they do to get people to re-enlist, is they will pay a bonus instead of it being the GI Bill or whatever it happens to be, it'll be a bonus. They'll just give them cash. So something like that. Yeah. So, and then the cash will just go to waste instead of anything like about going to college. Yeah. But yeah.
Kind of like a signing bonus, like what, they do to get these young rappers nowadays.
Yeah.
But so kind of the same thing. Like, here's $25,000.
Yeah. Making it a career instead of indentured servitude. Like, people would you'd still have poor people joining the army, but it wouldn't be under some like magical thinking that they're going to be able to go to school after. Like, most of them are probably, a lot of them are going to die. the way that we're going right now.
Unfortunately,
so, like shit.
We
like,
keep messing with people that don't want to play. You know, we keep playing with people that are like, okay,
fuck around and find out.
Y'all want to play?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like Ed's the convenience store. Like there were two guys in the back who came running out with their guns when the shooting started. Like anyone that we might want to try to pick a fight with is gonna have friends.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, God help us all. We still have, let's see, we have like 20 days till the election, and I don't know how many days off the top of my head until hopefully a new president gets installed, because that feels like what's happening. But, you know, Trump could still start World War III. It could still fucking happen.
I'll take you to conspiracy theory corner, though, y'all. Trump is not trying to start a war with anyone outside of America.
Oh, God,
Trump
no.
is trying to piss off all of our allies so that when he turns his attention on fucking the rest of us over, locking himself into that White House and instilling martial law across this country, nobody's going to fucking help us because he pissed them all off. And us American people are going to just be fucked while he tries to usurp this country.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's why my husband now has a gun.
Yeah, same. That's why we have one.
I can't wait till they perp walk his ass out of the fucking White House.
Oh God, right? Because I feel like that should happen. Like he is going to. Jimmy Kimmel made a joke the other day, and he said something about, oh, don't worry. Talking to Pence, he's like, when you go, when you get to go visit your buddy, in the pen,
like he's
you'll be able to.
Like he's going to get away with anything. Every single fucking one of them, I hope, gets indicted on something. And there's nobody in there can work with that man and not get slimy. How many people have been arrested already who worked with him?
Already. I would love to see that treat.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
How many people?
Yeah, people have made lists. I mean, I can't. I want to say it's at least 20 people deep that have been either indicted or convicted.
More than that,
so
isn't it?
I want to say at least. That's why I said at least. So
yeah, because like 3 of them have been pardoned and already released, right?
Yeah.
Cohen, and I know Cohen was one of them, and
Flynn.
Roger Stone.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah.
And that
everybody
guy
who knows
that
shit.
guy who
Everybody
literally,
who knows some good
he
shit.
was literally like, hey, Trump, you better pardon me, because like, he's like, I know things. And Trump's like, you are pardoned. Go away. Don't ever come call me again.
But he wants to do it on his time. He wants to look like he is in control, and it was his chess move that did it. When these dudes are probably sitting back calling, you have a collect call from prisoner, they're probably like, dude, put that on my commissary or get me the hell out of here, or I will be speaking to somebody. I mean, look at the gentleman that wrote the book recently, the one that he was like, oh, I didn't know I was talking to him, like on the record,
right.
The very well-respected journalist who's been very well-respected for 9,000 years because he's 9,005 years old.
The guy who got Nixon. Come on now.
Yeah.
Like the dude you were emulating was taken down by this man. Don't talk to him if you don't think... he thought he was smarter.
And that's his problem. You are not smarter than anybody, sweetheart. Like, stop it. Like, oh, you poor baby. But
it's really cute that someone told you that you were a genius once, but somebody should have changed your thinking a while back.
They lied because they wanted something. They wanted something from you.
He's a walking participation trophy.
For sure. Oh my God. That's why we should stop giving out participation ribbons and trophies to our kids right now, or they're going to end up like Trump. Let's stop doing that right now.
You guys need to take that to the Biden campaign, because that's an ad.
Right? Oh my God. We should. We'd be famous. Well, since they listen to us, they already know. So like in the next 2 days.
So back to that question.
So
the thing that 10 minutes ago.
Bringing this back around. Yeah. So it's and this is actually kind of a woke white person question.
It's a sweet question. I like this one.
It's some thought, and so that which we like to hear. And this is from Twitter. Am I intruding or am I supporting black-owned businesses if I go into their hair salons in my neighborhood?
So the first thing I think of is, well, are you going to a black-owned business with the intention of hopefully looking like a black person when you come out?
Yeah.
Like, are you wanting to get your hair in braids? Are you wanting to get like extensions? Are you wanting what is it that you're lking for? If you're,
I'm going to walk in and just say, "Fuck me up, do it."
But seriously, though,
I'm going to end up walking out like Gin Rummy.
fuck off.
All right. But and so depending on where you go, if you go to some places in the like hood, you might come out with some cornrows and like
and they'd be laughing
a
at you
couple
the whole
cuts in your
time.
eyebrow. Like you might, if you just go in there and just go, hey, have at it.
And there's nothing wrong with white people getting fades and getting
no.
Like that's a gorgeous culture that is emerging from barbershops right now. Can I just say that in all colors that I've seen that on? I fucking love it, especially because it's very non-gendered. I see a lot of men and women with those the stylish like shaves and stuff, and I fucking love that so much.
Kind of short, mine is has been a little growth right now, but normally that's what I finally have gotten comfortable with is having the shorter, cut hair, especially if you have the face shape for it and the kind of head for it, go for it. And it's just another way to express yourself. It's no other different way than if you go and get tattoos or you get piercings, and it's an art form. So one, to lead back to what T was saying, if you're doing it respectfully, if you're not going in with, like the black hair magazine that you picked up on the way in from the Rayleighs and you're like, I want to look like Beyonce, or, you're like, just go ahead and braid me up. Like,
like, girl, make me look pretty.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I trust you. Make me look pretty.
People that go to Jamaica or Mexico, and nothing wrong with it. Okay. But you white people that like to go there and you pay the people on the beach to braid you up real quick and everything.
Out of
like
2
Monica
or
on
3
Friends.
family vacations we ever went on, one was Jamaica, and I did the braid thing, and because of my as sensitive as my skin and my sensory input is, not knowing at that age that I was autistic, but I mean, and Mom, I know you listen to this. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that before we even got back to the hotel, I wanted to start taking them out. So, and my grandmother never got me to do braids because anytime she would start tugging on it, I would freak out.
Well, it shit hurts. I mean, so
it does.
There's a whole term called tender-headed for a reason.
Hi, that was me. And you know what you get? Popped with the comb.
Yep, and told to sit there. Yes,
Deal with that.
They put a little more grease on there, and they're like, "Here, girl, be quiet." The little bumps that you get from your scalp being pulled too tight and stuff. So, if you want to be like that, and if it's for that purpose because you're on vacation, fine. But don't put it in and then go to a Juneteenth rally and think that that is, like you're doing something. But being a customer in a Black establishment, a hair salon, one, people that are Black people, and when they become estheticians or cosmetologists or whatnot, they're trained in all kind of hair, not vice versa. So it's easier for you to step into a Black hair salon and get your hair done and have somebody know how to take care of it properly than if I were going to go into, XYZ salon in freaking Beverly Hills.
Yeah, exactly. Any hair salon school that anyone goes to, I don't know what you would call them, but any school that you go to, cosmetology, they're teaching primarily white hair. Yep. So Black hairstylists have learned multiple cultures worth of hair, not just whatever the standard hairstylist is. And, it took me a long time to figure that out because I kept, I would go from hairstylist to hairstylist because, nobody knew how to do my fucking hair. And it always was just I'm not going to go. I'm just going to let it, do whatever the fuck it's going to do. And that didn't work. It literally was finding a Black hairstylist who was like, oh yeah, I've totally worked with your hair before. And finally found a cut that actually looks good on me.
Yeah. And you do have to take it and go to somebody who really cares. Not somebody who is just doing it. I used to recruit for a cosmetology school. So I'm going to tell you the most ethnic thing that they learn is how to do a jerry curl. And I don't understand why in any year that begins with 20, they would be teaching how to do a jerry curl. Wow. But that is standard on the state board exam here for California. So that's the most ethnic thing that they learn how to do, other than perms. And I'm sorry, they do learn how to do straightening perms as well. But other than that, there's not a just straight focus on this is how you work with multicultural hair, or this is how you work with just straight Black hair. So yeah, so that's pretty alarming, but
well, here's a stupid Black girl question, which is there a difference between a jerry curl and a success perm? which if you're listening, you don't know, a success perm is what a lot of Asian people do when they get successful. They get a success perm. And I don't know if there's any difference between the two. So any educated Asian person listening to this, please get on my ass. But
no, I think it's very close. That's funny that you say that. There was that TV show, Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why I'm laughing, because that's what they did. They got successful, and the in-laws came, or the brother. It was like her sister and brother. Yeah, came, and he had the nice car, but he also had the fresh Jerry curl. They're pretty much the same. I think that they use a different
agent.
Oh my gosh,
chemical.
Yeah,
or whatever.
not toner, but yeah, like it's something in that process. But it smells the same. It's I don't know why. I wish there was somebody that, would explain to me why they feel that it's necessary to teach people how to do any type of curly perms in the year 2020. But yeah, so I think, to answer that, very sweet. That was a very endearing and honest question. One, thank you for the support. I know, that those Black salons would say, come on in, girl, get your hair done. Let me see what we can do. Probably, introduce you to some products that you had never even knew that was actually going to help you, maybe with some frizziness or something like that. Like,
if you got frizzy hair, you probably have nice curly hair under that. And you never been taught how to use it. You never been introduced to different kinds of oils, baby.
Yes.
And me,
yes.
I grew up, I told y'all, I grew up in the hood, I wear a lot of weaves. My hair used to be very, very long down past my butt until my best friend, who was a hairstylist, and she was a Puerto Rican girl. And she's one of the most beautiful women you'll ever see in your life. Looks almost exactly like Marilyn Monroe, but had a very jealous streak. And she cut all of my hair off to my shoulders.
Oh,
whoa. So I said, yeah, fuck this. I started just wearing weaves all the time, wearing weaves.
Is she still alive?
Yeah, yes. But I did
she's still with us, right?
There was a bagel store near her shop. So I went to bring my mom some bagels after, and I just walked into my mom's house, and she was like, please promise me you will never speak to that girl again. You will never be around that girl again. Because my mom was the one really taking care of it. I'd go to her house to wash it and, do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But so then I found this really awesome
hair. Nice.
Girl. And we are still in the aftermath now. But it took years to do it. But I found a stylist. Her name was Mecca in upstate New York. Amazing stylist. Black salon vibe. Like, she's selling purses out, Louboutin purses and heels, all of it.
And probably got the best movies, plates that came through and everything. You got to eat and everything.
And then other people come in selling, people come in selling food, selling whatever, selling their own wares. You are, exactly as MJ said, you are more than welcome in the space. You can't roll up in there, though, trying to be down or being weird and shit. Girlfriends, what's going on? Don't do all that weird shit. But when I moved to
Cali, turn on some 50 Cent, shit like that.
Dancing weird and shit. Just be normal and whatever. They'll chat you up. They'll be chill. But when I moved out to California, I was like, okay, shit, I need to put weave back in. It's too humid out here. California was not what I thought, or at least the Bay Area. I found a stylist finally in Oakland. She did my hair. Awesome. Amazing. Awesome lady. And then I said to her, okay, I'll come back next week to Oakland and or next month or whatever. And she's like, oh, well, where do you live? I was like, oh, Walnut Creek, which is a very affluent kind of white area. And she's like, oh, I work out of this salon there. So I go see her there to put a weave in. And you would be shook how many white people, because it's a white area, walked by, came in the salon, asked her, can you do white hair? And she's like, absolutely. Because we do tape
And please
weaves.
let her do your hair so you guys have a weave that looks good. Please stop looking like you went to CVS, got whatever clip-in that they had, and then think that shit looks good. It does not.
Yes.
Okay? So, yes. So please do, actually. Please do go to the Black salon.
She does bonded hair, some other kind of weird technology I didn't know, but it was so cool. I saw her do it on a girl once. You can't even tell it's an extension. My point being, there is knowledge there that you could be missing out on by not contacting your Black stylist, because she's like a wizard, and she has made tons of clients from just sitting there in this white city doing my hair in a window.
Nice.
Yes, and Walnut Creek is very white. Concord, Pleasant Hill. Yeah, I grew up, was living, in that area. I lived in Concord, right off of Kirker. What is it, Kirker Pass Road? That one? Yeah. Right off there. Long time ago. Right by the drive-in. I was right over by the drive-in. You said what? In Concord. Not Bailey Road. Sorry. Yeah. Sidebar combo once again. No, but you're absolutely right. What I used to love is when people would come into the salon or to the salon part of the school where I was a recruiter at. And you couldn't choose a student because these students were getting their hours, on the floor. Mm-hmm. So if you came in, whoever was ready, whoever was in that like senior class and whoever was ready, that's what you got. So I used to love when it was like older white women who'd be like, oh God, I'm coming in for a coloring, or, I want my mama from mama's family's kind of blue hair, coloring going on.
The blue wash.
And yes. And how they would be, clutching their purses and how they would be so, just walking precariously over to their chair. And about, 30 minutes in, they're like, that is the best. My hair has never been washed like that. My scalp has never been massaged like that. And by the time they walk out of there, they're looking 30 years younger because this young Black woman has convinced you to be like, let's go with a different color. Let's do this. Let's zhuzh you up a little bit, so, and teaching them things, yeah, that they didn't even think they were possible. Right. And, and one, you're coming in and you're paying $25 because it's a student, but two, you're walking out of there with knowledge and another look when you're walking in there and you didn't think that you wanted this Black girl, Mexican girl, or whoever to help you. Yep. I'm going to tell you now, you're going to get that flavor. You're going to get that extra touch. Going to beauty salons in the Black community is, it's a rite of passage. It's kind of something that, women do. It's, where you can kind of find your tribe, and you go in there and you sit all day. Okay. You could be going in there for a wash and a blow dry, and you will get it at 10 and you will easily leave at 4. And later, you'll be entertained that entire time. But like Lynxi said, you may get a new purse, some shoes. You'll get a good, plate of spaghetti. Yep. You go hear the latest gossip. You are going to, walk out of there with some new friends and maybe a graduation party to go to.
The closest I've ever had to something like that, living in white North Seattle. When I was growing up, my mom had a really good friend who lived down the street, and they had built like a hair salon in her basement, basically. And, she would see clients in there. And so that's where I would go and get my hair done. And, this woman was probably my mom's age, had a daughter about my age. And so me and the daughter would like hang out, and we would spend all day there, not because it was like hanging out at a hair salon, but because I was hanging out with Christy while mom was hanging out with Pat. And I mean, I look back at pictures, she did my hair for my junior prom, and this was the mid-90s. So imagine, if you will, the hair that I wanted was the like twist, like almost fake cornrow twists that would go into like a messy bun, and then you have curls coming down and that shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I looked so terrible.
It was the 90s. Everybody did.
But it wasn't just the 90s. Yes. It was the 90s white woman trying to do a white hairstyle on my not white hair. So it was so
She
bad.
Was trying.
She was trying. I'm probably the only Black hair that she ever put her hands on, but she was trying, and it was awesome.
Yeah. And probably all she needed was a little like gel or something else just to make it
like
just
a little too much.
Tighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, girl, I used to make my ponytails like that in the microwave. Okay. You would get a straight ponytail. Yes. You would put some freeze on it and roll that bad boy up with some rollers and put it in the microwave for like 2.5 minutes. Yes.
What?
And then take those. Yep. That's exactly how everybody made those curly ponytails. I know exactly what you're talking about. Ooh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right. So, hey, don't feel bad that you didn't have a crunchy microwave, curly ponytail on the back of your head. My best friend just tagged me in our senior ball picture. If we ever share pictures, okay, I had gloves on, a long dress. You couldn't tell me nothing. But in 96, it was the shit. So
girl, I had fishnets and Doc Martens on underneath my prom dress.
Aw, I love
very
it.
90s.
Yeah, grunge. Very grunge.
Very. I mean, I lived in Seattle and graduated in 1997. It was fishnets and Doc Martens.
That's why I'm like, that is, that's why I'm not surprised. Like, that is, I could name probably 6 or 7 girls that they wore that same outfit to homecoming, to prom, to graduation. I mean, I used to love the look, but my parents would never buy me any Doc Martens. And then when I started working, I didn't want to spend my money. So I was like, well, hey,
I get that.
Guess I won't ever have any. But yeah. So here we go once again. Off the tracks per se. But
Hey,
no, I
fuck.
think we
I love it.
One of my favorite things about doing this is that we're talking about social justice and we're talking about the Boondocks, but we're talking. We're just hanging out and we're talking. We have a basic agenda, but we're just hanging out and talking.
Right. And that's what I want, it's natural and it's organic. I've said it before. It's so organic. So yeah.
And, I mean, the people that I've talked to really, I mean, it seems to be seems that people like it. Yes.
Yeah.
I have a few friends who literally like when they listen to it, they will basically like live tweet me as they're doing it or live text me. And so they were like, oh my God, at 17, da-da-da-da-da. And I'll be like, hold on.
So cool.
You need to back up and tell me what we were talking about so I know how to answer that question.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you. I love when you share, the retweets and the positive comments that we're getting, And so thank you to everybody that's listening. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying on this journey thus far and that you guys are having as much fun as we have every week. So
yeah.
Because like I said, I started off with like low energy and 30 minutes in, it's still there. The migraine's still there, but I'm having a good time. So I was able to just kind of like say, bitch, sit back. You can come back when I'm done. Right now, I'm good. We're having fun.
I mean, to take this to a not as happy place. So like this week is really hard for me. 1 week from today, it'll be the first anniversary of my sister dying. And so that's been really affecting every aspect of my life, right? Like I'm just feeling it all over everywhere, honestly, all the time. I've just spent the last hour not thinking about it. And that's probably the first time in a while that I haven't just sat and thought about it. So like talking to you guys is part therapy. It's like I'm learning how to feel part of a tribe.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So, because I never really felt like I had that before. So this is really awesome. And I love you guys so much for this.
Oh, that's
hell
awesome.
fucking yeah.
I'm totally, yes, you're going to make me cry. Yeah, I'm crying because that's just awesome. That's sweet. And I'm glad that, and I'm sure Lynxi feels the same way, that we can be, the catalyst of that, or we can be your place to kind of forget all the bullshit for a couple hours per week.
Even when we're talking about the bullshit, I'm forgetting about the bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect me as much. Yeah.
That's what a tribe does. That's what these strong yonis do.
Yoni Club.
Strong, powerful yonis.
Do we want to change the name of the
giggle.
podcast?
I know. Yeah.
Let's talk about periods.
He'll be like, please no. Our downloads just went all the way down. All the way down.
All the way down.
Actually, it might skyrocket. There might be some people that are really into that for other reasons. We don't know.
That's a whole nother podcast, though.
Right.
Yes, it's called the Trash Talking
start that one.
Podcast. Please listen. There are several period episodes.
I love it. I need to get on that because
for real. Oh my
God.
Me
and that one, I'm ready for her to go away. Aunt Flo can go away.
Actually, I have an appointment next week to start that process.
Oh, lucky you.
I've been lobbying for it for a decade, and I finally have enough proof that shit's fucked up, and I'm 42 fucking years old. I'm not having another baby. Take it the fuck out.
Right?
Which is basically what I told my doctor, and she said, well, we have to come up with a better way to phrase that.
Right? So, can't really put that. That's not a medical, it's not, how do I code that? I don't know how I would code that one. So, had tubes tied after the last one. And I remember telling my doctor, just go ahead, dude, and just take it. Like, do what you need to do. Tie it. Do whatever you have to do to stop that. And he's like, oh, well, it's natural, blah, blah. Okay, of course you're going to say that.
Fuck you.
You got a good another 20 years. Why? And I'm like, are you trying to make me depressed? That's not the response. Yeah, so.
One of my girlfriends, she asked at 30, she said, I'm not having kids. Take them. Tie it. I don't want it. And her doctor said, I cannot do that. It is medical, not malpractice, but there's a term for it. Like it's medically irresponsible, basically.
Yeah.
And she went back and forth. I was like, girl, are you going to take this shit to the Supreme Court? She was like, no, but I want to.
I wish somebody would, right? Like, I'm going to be perfectly honest here. I've never had a normal any of that. Like, you know, trigger warning, I'm talking about fucking periods, but whatever. Like,
turn it off.
I was very, without going into detail, I had multiple miscarriages and all on birth control. And basically, like, I've never been able to have kids. It wasn't ever going to happen. And that was known from the time I was in my early 20s, and they still wouldn't take it out.
Wow.
So,
but that's like
we've gotten to a point now. Right? So,
because it's like they were just forcing you to live with, you know, with problems, you know what I'm saying? And just reoccurring, you know, infections or just, you know, just
migraines.
So many things can happen, you know? Yeah. Yeah. So many things can happen. And talking about it, it's like, why can't we have the choice to be able to make that decision whether or not we want to live the rest of our lives where, you know, having the accidents or like just having to go through a period if you know that is not what you want to do. And then let's say you do choose to want to have a child. Well, then there are so many babies out there that need parents. So if you're not able to have because you made a decision, you know, 10 years before to want to, you know, pack up Aunt Flo and send her on her way, then that's a decision that you have to come to terms with, or at least be able to make that, you know, that grown decision and say, well, I'm going to provide a life for somebody else, you know, for another child, one that I didn't biologically have. But it's I'm surprised it hasn't become more of a topic, you know, for women's rights as far as your health to be able to make that decision.
I'm sure that'll come up someday, but we're still fucking fighting the same thing we've been fighting for 50 years. So,
like, say, not with Amy on that bench,
right? We all know that person is going to be a Supreme Court justice eventually because that's the way fucking politics are. But like the fact that it is 2020 and we are potentially putting someone on the Supreme Court that basically believes that our founding fathers were right about everything. And so we should go back to those times.
The good old
That means
days.
that women and Black people are lesser beings. And this woman is about to be a Supreme Court justice. And this is, I can't believe it's 2020 and we have somebody like this who's about to be in a lifetime appointment.
And she's young enough for it to be like lifetime. Like she can end up being, you know, like as old as RGB.
Right? God, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Or RBG, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I've watched it over the past couple of days and I was just like, there's just something. You know, I presented herself well as far as like cool, calm and collected, being able to answer questions, not dance around them too much. She kind of did, but not where it was like, that's all she's doing.
She refused to answer basically like anything that could make her look bad, basically. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's yeah.
She refused to admit that she would like stand for something. And what was it? She said something about that she couldn't, oh God, I wish I could remember the words exactly, but
she said something along the lines of, I can't answer hypothetical scenarios.
Right. Which is literally what you do in law school.
Yeah.
Literally law school. So fuck you.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, so oh gosh, we'll see. That is kind of scary, but this was going so well. Let's not talk about that stuff. No.
Yeah, I think it's about time to say
yes.
Yeah. But it was great talking to you guys, and we will see you all next week.
Yes.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I need you to get the hell up out of here.
Hey, thanks for joining us again as we make our way through the trials and tribulations of the Freeman family. We hope to see you back again next week for the story of Gangstalicious.
Want to know where to find us on the social medias or where to subscribe to the podcast? Just head right over to www.theboondockspod.com/links.
Have a stupid white people question you want to leave us? Email us at host@theboondockspod.com or leave us a voicemail at 760-933-8636. That's 760-3-UNDO.
Shout out to the artists who've created our intro and outro tunes. Our intro is #MakeAChange by KIRK. You can find them on Spotify, iTunes, and Tidal. Our outro is Good Times by Audio Binger. You can find them on freemusicarchive.org and YouTube.